Do you feel like giving up? Like you can't do it anymore? Even wanting to quit your job? Maybe ready to get a divorce? Hey, stick around. We're going to be talking about these three things.
It's Monday Encouragement with Pastor Mike.
So, you feel like giving up. Before you do, ask yourself this question. What am I giving up on? You need to ask yourself that. Is it God's will that you keep going down this path? Is it God's will that you continue down this road? Or is it God's will that you give up? Who chose this path for you? Did you? Or did He? Has He called you to this struggle? A lot of times when God takes us through things, it's because He wants us to help someone else out of it. And if we refuse to go through the struggle, you are not going to be able to relate to other people. It's really all about your communication with Him. You say, what do you mean by that? Do you have peace in this struggle? Do you have peace in this storm? Peace from God in this season is what's going to guide you. You need it. You need to understand, is it God's peace or is it me? So understand that God's peace is what's going to guide you in this season. Jesus said in John 16:33, I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. If God is okay with this struggle that you are going through, then that means you can obtain peace in the midst of what? Trouble. Let's read the rest of John 16:33. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. He did not promise us everything was going to be great. If you cannot find peace in this struggle, you may need to surrender. Some may say, surrender what? Your own will and strength. All struggle is not from God. I may be struggling because of this choice I made. Let me give an example. Today, young men going and getting with a woman and someone tells you don't have sex before marriage and all that's not cool. But then you go and you get with that woman and she's crazy. She's fine and the sex was good and all that stuff, but she's nuts, man. And now she's using the children against you, charging you child support, won't let you see the kids, and now you're depressed and blaming God. This is not the struggle that I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying about you have to surrender and maybe give up your will and your way. This means trust in His will and not your own. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Do not depend on your own understanding. You see that? See, like, man, we can look at these verses and think like, yeah, I've heard this before. Listen, look. Your understanding is how I want things to happen, how I want things to be, and the way that I understand, and the way I feel. And God comes in and says, no, don't trust that. Verse 6 says, seek His will in all you do, and He will show you which path to take. Hey, if this is helping you in any kind of way, hit that like button. Divorce. I gotta put a little disclaimer out there. The tips that I'm about to give you are not for those that are experiencing physical abuse or constant cheating. But stick around until the end because I have a resource on what to do about physical abuse and infidelity. Many of us feel like giving up on a marriage because of hardship. It can be because of a lack of communication or a lack of vision from one another. As a pastor, I've had the great privilege of counseling many couples. I frequently hear things like,
she does not support my vision.
He doesn't listen to anything I have to say.
What I have seen with myself and many others when it comes to marriage is selfishness. The more pressure your marriage faces, the more selfishness will be exposed. Hold up, Mike. I don't like that word exposed. Listen, this word has been misused. Exposure is a good thing. If what I'm doing wrong is not exposed, I cannot change it. God's a gentleman. God ain't just gonna come and change you. I say to all people all the time, I said, you ain't never gonna trip and fall into change. For an example, in 2023, God told my wife and I to give everything away and move to Minnesota. A month after we get there, we discovered she had cancer. We experienced more pressure in our marriage then than any other time in our life. Now, God ended up healing my wife. If you want to see the full story, click up here, or I'll leave a video link in the description. We gave up everything. Our business, our house, pretty much all of our assets that we had. So when we came back to St. Louis, we had to live with friends and family for a period of time. We've had to endure so much pressure in this season. And because of this, it has exposed so much selfishness. I know this may be hard, but try going to God more about you than your spouse. What can you do different? I'm not saying don't go to God and pray for your spouse. I'm just saying, like, hey, if you're anything like me, you have this desire to just want to go to God and complain about your spouse, man. But boldness and courage is to go to God and say, Lord, what can I do to help? Marriage is one of the most selfless things you'll ever do. Philippians 2:4 says, don't look out only for your own interests, but take an interest in others too. This is something that we really need to get in our marriage. You got to ask yourself, am I being selfish? Is all the hardship, is all the things that I keep complaining about, is it about me? Am I not giving? Am I not helping? You got to ask yourself this. Hey, if you like this kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button to receive more. You want to quit your job, frustrated with your boss, or this may just not be your passion. Hey, before you quit, try changing your perspective. What do I mean by that? Use your job as a tool to go after your passion. Get focused on what you want. What is it that you want to do? Is it a business idea? Maybe a ministry idea? What is it? For an example, I wanted to build a record/marketing company for my music. Yeah, I do music. Check it out. So I put money aside from my job to invest into my business. You say, hold on, dude. I can't afford that. I got bills, man. Look, the average American spends over $2,300 on coffee per year. Coffee. No, seriously. I was able to use my job to invest into the vision that God gave me. Because of that, I've had the great privilege of leading over 6,000 people to the Lord through my music platform. Hey, you can do this. Here's the thing, it's not just about investing money. You need to keep your phone bill paid so you can continue your vision. If it's business, if it's ministry, whatever it is, you need to be able to call people. People need to be able to call you, man. Like, these are things that just really need to happen. You need a place to stay. You got to keep paying that. You got to pay car insurance. You got to keep your car going. You got to keep your car running so you can make the meetings that you need to make, things like that. Have that perspective, man. If you got the perspective, you're just wasting your time, you are going to waste time. Use that job to go after where you're going. This is probably the most important point. God may want to use this job to help you grow. It ultimately needs to be up to Him whether you stay or you go. Proverbs 16:9 says, we can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. You can make the plan to leave or to stay, but at the end of the day, if you're really trying to serve God and you want His will and His way, you need to allow Him to determine your steps. Don't move, don't jump, don't go. Whatever He wants you to do, He is the one that makes that decision. Earlier, I mentioned a resource on what to do about physical abuse and infidelity in marriage. Listen, if you or someone you know is dealing with this, watch this video here or click on the link in the description. Stay encouraged.
Regardless of the daily grind, everybody needs Monday encouragement. See you next Monday.